Enoye Extreme Media UJ. Subscribe for all updates.
Teams have been trying to access him in vain because he was so much intimidated. But just a few minutes back, I spoke with him, with our president. We sent a team to go and encourage him to speak out. And he told us that these guys told him that if he dares speak out, they will kill him. They took his pictures and they took his, they asked him about the parents and everything. But he tells us that he was separated from Eddie Mutwe and he was kept together with Kasim Sebude, because there were three people were taken: Eddie Mutwe, Kasim Sebude, and Kyagulanyi Najib. So Kasim Sebude is still missing. Nobody knows where he is up to now. But this guy, I just got information about maybe 2-3 hours back that he was back, but the local teams on ground, the whole day I've been trying to encourage him to speak out. I've been in different meetings. They sent me a message earlier which I hadn't seen, but they've been encouraging him to speak out, and the parents were all saying, we cannot allow him to speak out, you cannot allow him to do this and that. But like I said a few minutes ago, we were able to talk to him, and he told us one of the things he corroborated what Eddie Mutwe was saying is that where he was a home. Where they were taken was a home of somebody, and that later on they were separated with Eddie Mutwe, and he did not get to witness what Eddie Mutwe was going through. Of course they were beaten. Him in particular was asked why he is called Kyagulanyi. You can imagine this is his name, but they told him not to call himself that name, and they told him that name is going to cause him a lot of problems. Yeah, so as of now we don't know where the other gentleman is, our comrade Kasim Sebude. I can't tell you that we know where he is right now. He was, like I said, injected with substances he did not know what they were. He says that he was, he was in a home. He was not in a detention facility or whatever, but that shortly before he was released, then he was driven from that place, taken to another military facility, from where he was then taken to Kasijagirwa Barracks in Masaka. I hope that is the proper pronunciation. From where the flying squad people picked him and took him to quarters. You saw the state he was in. He told us how he was food deprived, just being given 1 meal a day, a terrible one at that. He told us how these people were asking him to speak Runyankore, and how they were asking him questions in Runyankore, that if when he failed to respond to them, that would attract more beatings. He told us that the CDF personally participated in his torture on the third day. He told us that he was being asked why the heck we think we can take over the country, and all sorts of things. Really, it was horrific even listening to the story. So that's, I think, the brief I can give. I'm sure when he comes out he will give more details about what happened, but he gave this context of, things that you cannot believe are happening at this particular point in time. They beat him so badly, and actually told him that if he continues doing what he's doing, he's going to be castrated. That was a real threat. They told him if he dares continue doing what he's doing, he's going to be castrated. And he was blindfolded many times. Other times he would see these guys who were torturing him and all that, and then asking him all sorts of things. But he kept asking them, what crime have I committed? And there was nothing. They were just telling him why you think you guys can take over the country. And at some point, of course, like we said, first of all, for all the time he was there, he was on handcuffs. And those of you who have had an opportunity to see him can see the injuries he got on his arms as a result of those handcuffs. But he says they would handcuff him and then at some point come and step on those cuffs, so that the handcuffs would eat into the skin. And then for the legs, there are also cuffs. These URA, the things, I don't know what they are called, but those things which the URA people use to close people's businesses and all that. I think that's the best way he could describe them. He was badly beaten under the feet. You all remember that after the Masereka incident, the form of torture changed largely, and that's what we've seen from most of our comrades. Because after Masereka, who was a registrar in Kasese, when he came out, and of course Kakwenza, when they came out with all these torture marks on their backs and everything, so they started now largely targeting feet so that they leave no trace. He told us that he looked like somebody with elephantiasis by the time he was leaving. Right now he's getting treatment, so his feet, as of yesterday, were beginning to get back in shape, but even then he could no longer move. His body is numb in many parts. He could tell us watawano sina chepulira. So his body is numb in on many parts of his body as a result of the torture and as a result of these injections which they gave him. What more? I mean, that is, he told us that he asked for water and they told him to drink the water in which he was sitting. So, very, very horrific tale. To imagine that is happening in 2025 is most unfortunate.
Yes. So, for those who may have missed it, Colin joins us from the Uganda Human Rights Commission that released a very, very strong worded order. I wanted to say statement, but that's not what it was. It was an order directing the Chief of Police Forces to release Eddie Mutwe. Colin happens to be the Director of Comprehensive Investigations and Legal Services at the Uganda Human Rights Commission. We tend to say UHC in short. So, Colin, you've listened to what DL has said. I just want to ask you at this point, how serious and how bad is the issue of abductions and torture, given the complaints you receive and release?
Thank you very much, Mr. Toko, for this opportunity to speak on this very, very serious issue concerning torture and unlawful arrest and detention of citizens of Uganda. Let me just start by saying that listening into the account from Mr. Rubongoya, it's quite disheartening to hear. As Uganda Human Rights Commission, we have also interacted with Mr. Sebufu Eddie Mutwe. Our Masaka Regional Office is directly handling that. Our officer there, our regional head, has visited Mr. Eddie Mutwe and has recorded his statement. And we were aware that people from the National Unity Platform were able to access him yesterday and speak to him. I wasn't yet aware that some of his family members had been able to see him. So I'm getting some of those updates now. But just to indicate that the Uganda Human Rights Commission is very strongly concerned on the events that have been happening over the last couple of days. To answer your question about what prompted the Commission to issue this order, I would like to draw our listeners to the mandate and powers that the Uganda Human Rights Commission exercises. These are constitutional powers, and in this particular case, under Article 53(2) of the Constitution, it does provide that the Commission may, if satisfied that there has been an infringement of a human right or freedom, order the release of a detained or restricted person. So what prompted the chairperson to take this action was that she actually first heard about this during a press briefing at the Uganda Media Center. I think one of the journalists raised the issue to her, and she actually thought that it was a rumor. It was not true. But I think in the course of the events, we all started to witness tweets of the official Twitter handle of the Chief of Defense Forces that indicated that Eddie Mutwe was actually in his custody. And the language, as Mr. Rubongoya has mentioned, seemed to indicate that he was in grave danger. He was apparently being tortured. So given the concern for his well-being and the fact that because once that information first came through, the chairperson constituted a team. We have a team under our Directorate of Monitoring and Inspections that is responsible for visiting places of detention and has a lot of information. So that process had started. But when these tweets started coming out, and it was clear that there was a clear admission by the Chief of Defense Forces that Eddie Mutwe was in his custody, the chairperson was satisfied that there was grave danger and there was a need to exercise this authority under the Constitution. This, I know you're calling it very strongly worded, but Godwin, that is the language that is provided for under the Uganda Human Rights Commission procedure rules. So this is a standard release order under the UHRC procedure rules, and that is what the chairperson invoked. And this was duly served on the Chief of Defense Forces, on the offices of the Chief of Defense Forces on Friday at about 5 p.m. So those are circumstances under which the chairperson and the commission took the decision to take that action. Hello?
Abalungi abatuuliriza era abatulaba olunaku olwaleero tuchaddeko ewa Sheikh Asiraf Dembe.
Sebo sanyusa okubalaba amannya agange Seeka Asiraf Dembe akola ku bizibu by'enjawulo. Omuntu singa aba alina ebirwadde tumusomereddwa, tumuwa amazzi ga lukuya nga bw'obadde ogalaba, tugenda abantu ku kyoto ne twokya emizimu emibi egibabaamu n'okulomba edduwa. Abantu singa abeera ng'ali wano atuuse sobola okumulombera edduwa, ne waba atatuuse nga mpadde amannya ge naye ng'ali wala. Neetaaze enamba yange yeeno eri 0707763711. Nammwe bannyinaffe abali ebweru oyagala okuba nti oyagala okulombera ku dduwa ng'olina ebizibu, viza zibuze, amaka gakolongotana, sente zikola zimpita mu ngalo, ojja kumpeereza ekifaananyi kyo n'amannya go, ebyo byokka bijja kummala. Nja kukulombera edduwa, ojja kutereera. Olunaku olusembayo mu mwezi mba n'edduwa eyawamu ffenna n'abalwadde bange abakadde n'abapya. Salaamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.